A philosopher in the shadows of revolution. Picture this: Paris, 1793. The French Revolution is at its height. The streets are filled with the clash of ideals, the cry of liberty, and the chilling sound of the guillotine. Amidst this storm stands Marie-Jean-Antoine-Nicolas de Caritat, Marquis de Condorcet, a man who believed, even in those violent, uncertain days, that humanity could progress endlessly toward knowledge, justice, and equality. Condorcet wasn't just a philosopher. He was a mathematician, a reformer, a defender of women's rights, and a prophet of human progress. Unlike many who surrendered to despair, he chose hope, not naive hope, but a reasoned, principled belief in the power of education, freedom, and moral courage. From his writings and life, we can draw lessons that remain just as urgent today. His story reminds us that while individuals may fall, ideas endure, and they shape the destiny of generations. Lesson 1: Believe in human progress, even in darkness. Historical background. Condorcet's sketch for a historical picture of the progress of the human spirit was his final and most visionary work. He wrote it while in hiding from revolutionary authorities, knowing he could be executed at any time. Surrounded by fear and violence, he dared to imagine a future where reason and science would bring freedom, equality, and enlightenment. At a time when many philosophers saw history as cyclical or dominated by fate, Condorcet broke from tradition. He believed progress was real and irreversible, even if slow and filled with setbacks. Philosophical insight. Condorcet's optimism was radical. He saw humanity as perfectible. Not perfect, but capable of continual improvement. To him, every generation adds a new layer to the human project, a collective staircase climbing toward justice, equality, and wisdom. Practical life application. In modern life, we often feel crushed by crises: climate change, inequality, wars, pandemics. It can feel like the world is falling apart. Condorcet's lesson is not that problems don't exist, but that the arc of history is longer than our lifetimes. Hope is not a luxury, it's a responsibility. Believing in progress gives us strength to keep fighting for it. Modern parallels. The abolition of slavery, women's suffrage, and civil rights, all impossible dreams once, now real. Scientific progress, vaccines, space exploration, renewable energy. Social justice, even when delayed, equality movements push forward. Takeaway wisdom. Progress is rarely smooth, but it is possible. Believe in humanity's capacity to grow, even when you may not live to see the fruits. Lesson 2: Education is the foundation of equality. Historical background. Condorcet's report on public instruction argued for free, universal, and secular education. He saw ignorance as the root of inequality and oppression. Without knowledge, citizens could not make informed choices, leaving democracy weak and fragile. This was revolutionary. In his era, education was a privilege of the wealthy, while peasants and especially women were excluded. Condorcet wanted to shatter this elitism. Philosophical insight. He believed education wasn't just about learning facts, but about learning how to think. A truly free society requires citizens who can reason independently, not blindly follow authority. Practical life application. In our world, inequality in education still defines opportunity. Digital divides, poor schools, and unequal access to higher education echo Condorcet's warnings. His lesson pushes us to fight for learning opportunities, not just degrees, but critical thinking for all. Modern parallels. Global campaigns for girls' education, e.g., Malala Yousafzai's activism. Online education platforms democratizing access to knowledge. Movements for free or affordable higher education. Take away wisdom. Education is not a privilege, it's the foundation of freedom. If you want equality, begin with knowledge. Lesson 3. Stand firm in the face of injustice. Historical background. Condorcet was no stranger to danger. He supported the ideals of the revolution but denounced its violent turn under Robespierre. Refusing to betray his principles, he became a hunted man. Arrested in 1794, he died in prison under mysterious circumstances, possibly suicide, possibly assassination. Philosophical insight. His life embodied the Enlightenment's moral core, truth above survival. He believed principles were not negotiable, even when threatened with death. To compromise with injustice would betray reason and humanity. Practical life application. We may not face guillotines, but we do face pressures to stay silent in the face of corruption, discrimination, or abuse. Standing firm may cost you comfort, reputation, or opportunity. Yet integrity, real integrity, shines brightest under pressure. Modern parallels. Whistleblowers exposing corruption. Activists risking prison to fight injustice. Everyday people refusing to participate in unethical practices at work or in society. Take away wisdom. Justice demands courage. Stand firm in truth, even when the price is high. Lesson 4. Defend the rights of women. Historical background. Condorcet was one of the few Enlightenment thinkers to demand full equality for women. He argued that the exclusion of women from education, politics, and public life was irrational and unjust. In essays like On the Admission of Women to the Rights of Citizenship, he declared that denying women's rights violated the very principles of the revolution. Philosophical insight. For Condorcet, reason had no gender. If liberty and equality were universal rights, then women must be included. He saw patriarchy as another form of tyranny, as harmful and irrational as monarchy. Practical life application. Though progress has been made, gender inequality persists, wage gaps, political underrepresentation, gender-based violence. Condorcet's call remains urgent. True progress is impossible while half of humanity is excluded. Modern parallels. #MeToo movement challenging systemic sexism. Women gaining leadership roles worldwide, yet still facing barriers. Ongoing global struggles for reproductive rights. Take away wisdom. Equality is indivisible. To deny it to women is to betray the very meaning of justice. Lesson 5. Science and morality go hand in hand. Historical background. Condorcet, a mathematician, admired science deeply. But he also feared knowledge without ethics. He envisioned science as a tool for human liberation, curing disease, improving agriculture, ending poverty. Yet he warned it must be guided by justice. Philosophical insight. Knowledge alone doesn't guarantee progress. It must be paired with moral responsibility. Otherwise, science could serve tyranny instead of freedom. Practical life application. We live in Condorcet's dilemma today: AI, biotechnology, surveillance. Each innovation has potential for good or harm. The lesson: science must be led by compassion, not just curiosity. Modern parallels. Debates over artificial intelligence ethics. Climate science versus political inaction. Medical research balancing innovation with equity. Take away wisdom. Knowledge is power, but without morality, it becomes a weapon. Lesson 6. Question authority. Historical background. Condorcet lived in a society dominated by monarchy, church power, and aristocratic privilege. He rejected these unearned hierarchies. For him, authority must always answer to reason, not tradition. Philosophical insight. Blind obedience breeds tyranny. Rational questioning keeps power accountable. To Condorcet, reason was the true sovereign. Practical life application. We all face authority, bosses, governments, cultural norms. Questioning doesn't mean rejecting all authority, but demanding it justify itself. Modern parallels. Citizens questioning mass surveillance. Journalists exposing corruption. Activists challenging corporate monopolies. Take away wisdom. Respect is earned through reason, not demanded by power. Always ask, is this just? Is this rational? Lesson 7. Hope beyond your lifetime. Historical background. Condorcet wrote his most hopeful works knowing he would not live to see their realization. His vision stretched centuries ahead, imagining a future free of slavery, sexism, and ignorance. Philosophical insight. His belief in progress wasn't just optimism, it was faith in future generations. He saw himself as a link in a chain, contributing to a future he would never witness. Practical life application. In a culture obsessed with instant results, Condorcet reminds us that the greatest projects, justice, peace, sustainability, take generations. Work not only for yourself, but for those yet unborn. Modern parallels. Climate activists fighting for future generations. Teachers shaping lives they'll never see fully unfold. Innovators building technologies for a better future. Take away wisdom. Live not just for today, live as a builder of tomorrow. Lesson 8. Defend freedom of thought. Historical background. Condorcet was relentless in defending intellectual freedom. He believed censorship, whether from kings or revolutionaries, was a betrayal of human dignity. Even while hunted, he kept writing, hiding manuscripts that would inspire future generations. Philosophical insight. Without freedom of thought, there can be no truth, no progress, no justice. To silence an idea is to strangle humanity's potential. Practical life application. Today, censorship may come not only from governments but from algorithms, echo chambers, and cancel culture. The duty remains the same: defend the right to think, even for those you disagree with. Modern parallels. Journalists jailed for reporting truth. Online platforms struggling with speech versus misinformation. Artists challenging cultural censorship. Take away wisdom. Protect the freedom to think and speak, it is the foundation of all other rights. Lesson 9. Trust in the power of rational debate. Historical background. Condorcet believed democracy required rational discussion. He even pioneered mathematical theories of voting and representation, seeking fairer systems for collective decision-making. Philosophical insight. Conflict is inevitable, but it can be resolved through reason, not violence. Debate, grounded in evidence, is humanity's best path forward. Practical life application. In polarized times, debate often collapses into shouting matches. Condorcet's lesson is a challenge: listen, argue with reason, and let truth emerge through dialogue. Modern parallels. Democratic institutions under strain. Online platforms where debate turns into hostility. Grassroots dialogue movements rebuilding trust. Take away wisdom. Disagree without destroying. Debate is not weakness, it is civilization. Lesson 10, Live with Courage. Historical background. Condorcet's final days were marked by fear, hiding, and betrayal. Yet he never renounced his ideals. His courage was not the absence of fear, but the strength to live his truth until the end. Philosophical insight. Courage is not reserved for warriors. Intellectual courage, the willingness to defend truth against power, is just as vital. Practical life application. For us, courage may mean small daily acts, standing up to bullies, defending someone marginalized, choosing honesty over comfort. Modern parallels. Activists risking freedom for justice. Everyday citizens refusing to stay silent in the face of wrongdoing. Writers and thinkers challenging dominant narratives. Takeaway wisdom. Courage is not about fearlessness, it's about living in alignment with truth despite fear. Conclusion. Condorcet's timeless voice of progress. Marie-Jean-Antoine-Nicolas de Caritat, the Marquis de Condorcet, lived in an age of upheaval, revolution, and fear. He could have chosen safety by bowing to power, staying silent, or betraying his principles. Instead, he chose courage. He chose truth. He chose hope. Even as he was hunted, imprisoned, and faced certain death, Condorcet kept writing about the possibility of a better future, a world where education would belong to everyone, women would stand equal to men, reason would replace superstition, and science would serve humanity with compassion. His life reminds us that progress is never smooth. It is fought for. It is defended. It is carried forward not by comfort, but by conviction. Condorcet may not have lived to see his vision realized, but his ideas planted seeds that continue to grow centuries later. In today's world, marked by division, uncertainty, and fear, Condorcet's lessons are more than philosophy, they are a call to action. He teaches us to believe in progress even in darkness, to defend equality in all its forms, to question unjust authority, to value education and reason, and to live with courage no matter the cost. The truest tribute to Condorcet is not only to admire his words but to practice them, in our choices, in our communities, in our hopes for future generations. Because if Condorcet could keep faith in humanity's progress while awaiting death in a prison cell, then surely, we can keep faith too.